And it's been a long time coming, this road back to squatting 605, but the time is now. And I would say that wasn't absolutely terrible. I did obviously cut depth, mostly out of precaution, and I'll even admit maybe a little bit of fear. I'm really trying my best here to not re-injure or at least aggravate a lagging injury that is still lingering on and could cause me some trouble in the future if I decide to just get too wild. So while I do cut depth here and there by an inch or two or so, maybe 3 inches on that one, it does show that I am getting stronger, I am healing, and I am moving in the right direction. So what I've been doing is I'm not cutting depth on my warm-ups because I've already proven to myself that I can squat those numbers to depth without being injured, which means next week as I go higher, the 605 that I take next week before the top single will then be to depth, and I'll probably cut short the depth of that top single. Besides all that, we're gonna move on to the work that matters, the rep work, and we are moving away from my 4 sets of 3 now to 5 sets of 2, so I can move a heavier weight, ideally to full depth for all sets and reps, and it's going to be the most that I've squatted for reps in quite a long time, so I'm excited to see how I can move this. And continuing on with the updates to the program, moving into this next block, this slot was 2 sets of 6 of just a normal deadlift, followed by 1 single set of a conventional RDL. We are now replacing that with 2 sets of sumo RDLs using these front bands to once again shore up the area that I need the most work of letting the bar pull away from me. These will ensure that I am keeping the bar tight to my body and strengthening in an area that I need the most work. Instead of splitting the sets into 2 sumo sets and then 1 single conventional set, we are now just going to do 3 sets of the sumo RDL to get more specificity into my training as we get closer to competition. And I know I said that I'm going to be using the bands to help pull in towards my body, but in this specific situation, I'm actually going to let the bar move away from my body several inches from my shin, as this is an RDL and not a actual deadlift. This is going to be reinforcing a strength that I'm currently weak in my lower back, as well as my ability to pull myself back into position as I fall out. So as I'm putting myself into a terrible position, I'm still able to build the strength in that position to complete the lift. With the idea of, if I do make a mistake on competition or even here in the gym in training, then I will have the strength in that terrible position to finish the lift. Holy shit. So overall, really good training day. Squatted finally over the 600-pound mark and did reps over the 500-pound mark. And I'm happy with my change for the sumo RDLs with the front band pull. That seemed to work very well for me today, including pausing at the bottom to reinforce strength in that position. Rep PRs on both the leg extensions and the hamstring curls. So again, always progressing forward no matter what. However, I am skipping the reverse squat and the adductor machine as my groin area and adductor tendon are acting up a little bit more than normal today, probably because that 600-pound squat is the first time I've moved that heavy weight to include the heavier back down sets, and pausing at the bottom with those sumo RDLs, probably a little too much stress on it for one day, but I will build up that tissue tolerance over time, undoubtedly. So my training today is technically finished. I am, however, going to experiment with a few different movements. I want to add at least one, maybe two sets of something that is glute focused. So whether that be a 90-degree hyperextension of some variation, maybe the reverse hyper, which I dread, but let's be honest, it works very well. It's just terrible to set up, hard to load, and just overall a real pain in the ass. But I'm gonna mess around with the equipment I have, try something out, and see if I can't fit at least one good glute focus movement in for today. And that's overall gonna wrap up today, but if you like this content, share it, like it, subscribe. I'm doing the best I can to provide information as well as showing what a real prep looks like, not some internet guy that talks about a bunch of nonsense that doesn't even compete in the sport. But we'll just end this on a good note with a good old-fashioned double bicep. And if you're making it this far to the end of the video, you're gonna get some extra super secret tips. And when using a 90-degree Roman chair like this, if you go straight-legged, it's gonna be mostly hamstring focused or lower erector, depending on where you're weakest. If you want these to be glute focused, you wanna keep a bent knee. So I back this up to this telephone pole, and I'm driving instead of coming all the way forward, I'm driving my hips to the edge of this crease here so I can still bend, and I'm bending my knees as much as I can. This should help to be more glute focused, but I'm unsure how this is gonna feel. So this is why this is the experimentation portion. Well, that's not terrible. It's not enough glute focus for me, and the more I was thinking about it as I was doing that, it's gonna be a real pain in the ass to load this heavy enough. So I don't think this is the winner. And it's been a really long time since I've really tried to push the pull-throughs as a glute focused movement. And from what I remember, the problem was loading. By the time it gets heavy enough to really do something, I can no longer stand in place and the weight would just pull me back. I did one warm-up set as a test on the full stack, and that went okay. It actually felt pretty good. So I've loaded another 15 kg on here, about 33 pounds, and we're gonna try just a couple reps to see if I can get a good stimulus from this. Yeah, it's the same problem as always. You can't really load it heavy enough to get something from it. I feel that if I put enough weight on here, it's gonna do nothing but pull me backwards before I ever get any load heavy enough to really get any glute stimulus from it. So, also, not the winner. And if you're wondering why I don't just do a conventional RDL, which is probably one of the best glute focused movements that you can do, I am already taxing my lower erectors, my lower back, hard enough from the heavy squat, plus the sumo RDLs, that I need to reduce the load or what I'm asking for my lower back so I can directly work my glutes. Same thing as why I'm doing leg extensions today instead of leg press, because I put the work in on the squat, so I want to focus on my hip flexor or rectus femoris, which will be better targeted by the leg extension in comparison to the leg press. So this is why we need to be very specific in our movement choices and how we organize them through training. So I'm trying to find something that is glute focused while removing the working load from other areas of the body that I'm trying to save because I've already previously worked them in the session, and I'm doing my best not to overwork them. Pretty certain this is going to have the exact same problem as I just had on the Roman chair outside. Okay, let's just keep this door shut. But I'm going to try anyway to see how it feels. Yeah, already you can tell that this pad is too far forward and I will not be able to bend at the hips. But let's try. Now I won't be able to lock my feet in underneath. So, no, that's not going to work either. So this one's an immediate fail. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't know the answer the entire time, and I was doing everything I could to find a secondary answer when this was the end result, no matter what. Reverse hyper, I've done a little bit of experimentation already. I've hooked a band to it. I'll show you a close-up after. And unfortunately for me, these give the most terrible back pump every time I do them. But they are one of the better glute-focused movements I can do with what I have available to me, that reduces the heavy loading that I'm asking for my erectors as well as for my hamstrings. So this, unfortunately, will be making its way into my program next week. And it's just as terribly good as I remember it. And this is the current setup that I'm using. I have these collars which I can hook bands onto, so I will be moving the bands off of here and hooking them to the collars. Some 25s on there for now, starting pretty low. This green band set up in this orientation here, double banded, and I had to use these heavy weights or it kept sliding it and pulling it or even moving the machine. But after experimentation, this setup works pretty well. And if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you, and don't forget to make it look easy.